tape to your wall. It's gonna be a cold white Christmas in St. Paul.
And it might be a cold white Christmas everywhere else. Welcome to Random Rogers Big Picture for the week of October 5th. A little depressing music for you. My brother-in-law gave me 4 discs of wildly depressing music. That's about the only one that I can bear to listen to, the only song. And I actually think that one might be kind of popular, but I'm not sure. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the portfolio. I said I would do a recap of the quarter as I usually do, and so here we go. As the quarter ended, third quarter ended, the S&P 500 was down 20.57% for the year, and for the third quarter, I have it as down 8.9%, and then obviously you can add in dividends if you're so inclined. In terms of how the portfolio did, the year-to-date number is much, much better. Year-to-date, I think it was the last video, but maybe the video before, I stopped doing exact numbers. It just created more hassle than it was worth, but you'll have a pretty good idea. I was down a little over half of what the market actually dropped. So, very low double digits, as opposed to down 20%. For the quarter, the third quarter, I had a bad quarter. A couple of weeks before the quarter ended in a video, I disclosed being a little behind, a couple of percent or so behind. I made that up and was a little ahead, but it's close enough that really, for anyone who cares, and we'll get to why that doesn't even matter, it's close enough that it should be thought of as a push. It was not a great quarter. Couple of things that really went against the portfolio was some of the holdings. So now, if you've got individual stocks, and you've built a diversified portfolio, chances are you have a lot of stocks, and I'm no different, that are down 30% or 50%, whatever, mixed in there, and I'm no different. A couple of things that worked against me, and this relative, being even was about the worst quarter I've had in a while. Emerging markets hurt me. Materials hurt. Things along those lines. That foreign stocks were a drag this go around. So really, I had some violent activity in quite a few things. Yet the result, about a push, give or take. Additionally, I did a couple of the tactical things that I did were very poorly timed, which also worked against me for the quarter. Bank of America, I sold it into the merger news, and I believe my price was 29.22. Then, about 5 minutes later, they banned short selling, and the stock went berserk. So that was clearly bad timing. Tater was very upset by this. Clearly, that was bad timing. I bought China Mobile. I had been planning all along at about down 60% to one way or another buy back into China, which I did. And immediately thereafter, the stock got hit. A couple of downgrades like the next day or the day after. I mean, the timing was just uncanny. And the stock plummeted, and then it's been coming back lately. But the timing on that also poor. And, I can't really be bummed about either one of those. I don't believe the merger will work. So, okay, timing bad, but the idea, I am neither right nor wrong yet. I don't believe the merger will work. China Mobile, they have 400 and something million customers, make a lot of money, and the stock was down 40-ish%, maybe a little bit more. Tough to really be too upset about that, but clearly, again, let's not be clear, the timing was poor. I'm not trying to hide from that, but it kind of gives you an idea of, maybe how to deal with emotion. Maybe that's where it's constructive, how to deal with emotion when you do get things tactically wrong. I sold half the double short position the day before the second. Was it the second? I've lost track of how many crashes. The second crash this past week. There we go. That's the way to phrase it. The second crash this week. I sold half the double short subject to rounding, which was, again, poor timing, but not disastrous. Relative, those moves, the portfolio is still generally behaving the way I intend it to behave, which is on days that it's down, the portfolio is down less, and on days where the portfolio is up, the portfolio is up less. The whole idea, when demand is not healthy, to be below, when demand is not healthy, to be less volatile than the market. And clearly, that has been the case, as you can tell with the results. One reader left a question asking how I've done since the market peaked back in October. I said I would answer it here, but I don't have an exact answer because the closing high was October 9th, and the way I keep track of this is just generic numbers that I'm talking about, representative, but still generic, is I capture a screenshot on the last day of the quarter, and I don't do that, so, October 9th, obviously not the last day of the quarter. So what I can tell you is going back to the last day of the third quarter of 2007, again, down in the neighborhood, it's low, very low, double digits, compared to what is about 29%, I think. Oh, actually, no, we probably are now touching 30% on the market. So really, I was going great guns for a while, and this last quarter kind of slowed down the progress that I've had. There is one skew, however, in that fourth quarter of 07 number that you should be aware of in trying to factor that. The fourth quarter of last year, the portfolio actually went up a tad, while the S&P 500 dropped. The S&P 500 closed the quarter at 1547, then it closed the fourth quarter, I believe, exactly 100 points lower. Anyone can double check me, but whatever. It was down mid-single digits, and I was up just a hair. That was a bad J. Peterman. Anyway, so that's kind of where I am. And here, the idea behind all of this is pretty basic, which is what I've been writing about for 4 years. I just had the 4-year anniversary. What I've been writing about for 4 years. Pick a strategy that you have some reasonable basis to expect will work, and then have the discipline to follow through. Over the course of the entire bear market, over the course of the last quarter, boo-hoo, is probably more like it. But really, that's not what you should be focusing on. Hopefully, what you're taking from this is picking something early on and sticking to it can work. Hopefully, you can take from this also that making a few poor tactical decisions, which has been the case of late, can still work. The portfolio, despite poor decisions, or poor execution, I executed decisions poorly is the proper way to think of it. Despite that fact, the portfolio is still generally doing what it should do, which is be less volatile while demand for equities is not good. All right, I think I'm running out of time, so what I may do is actually fire up for another video and talk about the stock market. Alrighty, that'll be it for now, and I'll put up another video in a bit.